We've got a challenge in this country, education-wise. We all know. I mean, these things are addictive. I mean, you hit that dopamine hit when you look at...
It's called Instagram.
It's called Instagram, exactly. If you ban cell phones in a school, teachers get back an average of 1 hour of instruction per week and 5 total days of instruction a year.
Wow.
That is tremendous. But there's probably people out there going, hey, I don't agree with this. I think this is a huge problem. It shouldn't just be you're banned from using your cell phone and having your cell phone student. It really should be a comprehensive digital literacy push. Welcome to From Classroom to Campus, the podcast where we dive into the ever-evolving world of education. So let's be honest. If you're listening to this right now, your phone is either in your hand, your pocket, or maybe sitting like 3 inches away. Now imagine someone telling you you've got to put it away and you can't get it back until the end of the day. That's life right now for millions of students across the country, thanks to the cell phone bans in schools. So today's episode, we're asking, are we headed for a full-on national school-wide cell phone ban? We'll look at the research, we'll see what it really says about attention spans and grades and student mental health, and whether banning TikTok and algebra is genius, crazy talk, or maybe a little bit of both. So stick around, because whether you're a teacher, a parent, or a student secretly listening under your desk, this episode might just make you put your phone down or at least hide it a little better. I'm your host, Philip Bates, and joining me today is the wonderful Megan Blessing. Hello, Megan.
Hello, can I hide under this desk?
You are welcome to hide under the desk. They can't even see you.
True.
So we love to have guests on our show, but we also love to do, this whole series on things that make you go, And cell phone bans, a national-wide school phone ban is definitely something that makes you go, don't you think?
Sure does.
And we're going to talk all about that, but a couple of reminders. First off, hey, folks, if you've got comments, we want to hear from you. Put them in the comments. We want to hear what's going on. We want to hear what you like, what you didn't like, what you want to hear more of, that sort of thing. Also, suggestions about show topics, suggestions about guests. Maybe you're listening to this and you're like, I really want to be on this podcast. Well, hey, give us a shout. We'd love to have you. And then lastly, I want to remind you to subscribe, because we have all these views, like thousands of views, but we need to get our subscriptions up. We need to get these people subscribing. So we're going to do something fun at the end of this episode. You do not want to miss it, Megan.
Yes, you
do. No, you don't. And we're going to do something fun at the end of this episode to remind you to subscribe. But until then, we are going to dive into cell phone stuff. We ready?
I thought we were going to do this or that.
Oh, we are doing this or that. Maybe I was just trying to get out of that. No, we're going to do a little this or that to get to know the host, I guess, a little better.
Yes.
Okay, I guess
we're
that's
doing something a little different today, because normally you do a hook, line, and thinker.
Yep.
But this time we're going to mix it up.
Oh, I'm a little nervous.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know what this or that is, I hope you do. But if you don't, it's where someone is presented with 2 options and they pick the best one. Okay, so you're just going to say which one you like best.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 2 options and you're going to say which one you like best.
All right, I'll do my best.
Okay? All right. Okay, the first group is you as an educator, as a principal.
Okay.
Snow day call or standardized testing week?
Oh, snow day call for sure.
Why?
Well, so that's what day I prefer is a snow day call?
Yeah, what would you rather have happen?
So I secretly love the snow day. We're supposed to be like, oh, well, that's going to take away one of our holidays and we're going to have to go later. But I still love snow, and I still love to play with my kids in the snow, even when they were older. So I love the snow day call.
Okay.
And I hate testing days.
That makes sense. Okay, morning announcements or end of day bus duty?
Oh, easy. Morning announcements. Morning announcements are fantastic. I mean, Pledge Allegiance, always feel good about that. Texas Pledge, great. And then you get to kind of get everybody's day off started the right way. So it's just kind of fun. Always love the announcements.
Okay.
And I hate bus duty.
I thought you liked it. I thought you liked saying goodbye to all the students.
I like greeting them. I was always good about, hey, see y'all later. But the greeting part I always liked.
Okay. Surprise classroom observation or a surprise prank?
I don't like surprise classroom observations. I didn't like doing them and I didn't like receiving them when I was a teacher. Like, it's just so uncomfortable. So pranks are fun in school. I mean, it's fun to do something goofy. Like, we used to have a really great guy who did art in our building. He did, computer art. And so he would take all the assistant principals' faces and all the critical people in the building, and he'd put their face like on superheroes and stuff. And then he'd put them on posters around the building and just fun, goofy stuff like that. Pranks in schools is really, really common. It's, I think, how we all kind of stay sane in schools. So.
Okay. Now we're going to your current job.
Okay, current job.
Principal or content director at UWorld?
Principal or content director? It depends on the day.
Okay.
I loved being a principal, but I really do love being a content director. I get to do instructional planning meetings like every day, and I like talking instruction. So.
Okay. ACT exam or SAT exam?
ACT or SAT? I'm going to go with the new SAT exam. They made some nice changes on the enhanced ACT, but I still think that SAT exam is great.
Okay. AP content or ACT, SAT content?
AP content, because it varies. I mean, we've got AP Spanish to calculus to biology to, macroeconomics, whereas SAT and ACT is just math, reading, English, and I think it's more fun.
Okay. Now as a podcaster.
Okay.
Likes or subscribes?
I will take subscribes, baby.
Yes,
give me some
subscribes. We love subscribes.
I love likes, but give us some subscribes. That's a good one.
Please subscribe right now. Okay, solo episodes or with guests?
Oh, it's hard. I love having guests. It's really, really fun. But today I'm doing a solo one, and I'm super psyched about it. So today we'll say solo.
Okay. Now these relate to you.
Okay. These are the scary ones.
Gym or soccer field?
Oh, man. Yeah, I just started playing old man soccer league again. And I'm real sore from a couple of days ago. So we're going to say gym.
Okay. Beach or mountains?
Oh, hard. We're going to mountains.
Okay. And finally, for the last one, this is the best one. Smelling bad or looking crazy? Like crazy hair, crazy outfit, pick one.
I'm going to go looking crazy. I don't want to smell bad ever.
That was a trick question because I thought you were going to say smelling bad because I can't.
That is my superpower. If you watched an earlier episode, I think my first solo episode, we talk about it was 4. Okay. We talk about my superpower being I do not smell. So to confirm, I still don't smell.
Okay. So you should have picked that one.
I should have.
Yay, hooray, that's the end.
That was fun. Thank you. I can calm down and relax now. I was a little nervous what you're going to ask me. All right, so let's dive into cell phone stuff. Megan, if I'm missing something or if you think of something, man, interrupt and just pop in. I think that would be great.
Okay.
Because there's no way I'm covering everything, but I'm going to do the best I possibly can. We're going to speak to kind of 3 audiences today. We're going to speak to the audience that is just anti-cell phone ban. Maybe it's a parent out there that just doesn't believe in it. Whatever, but we're speaking to you today. We're also speaking to the folks that maybe are on the fence. They don't love or hate the cell phone ban. They're just kind of wanting to hear more about it. And then we're going to be talking to the person who is just diehard. We need a national cell phone ban. We've got some states, and we'll talk about that, who have done bans, but we're going to be talking to all 3 of those folks today. The reality right now with cell phones is, if you're an educator, unless you are a seasoned veteran, you have competed or currently are competing with cell phones for the attention of your students. And it's kind of sad when you think about it. I mean, new teachers, teachers that have been teaching for about a decade, all is cell phones in the classroom. You've never gotten to experience no cell phones in the classroom. And so, things that make you go, should we have a cell phone ban nationally is what this episode's all about. We'll talk about first kind of what the shift has been. And the shift is starting to see states, actually 26 of them, that have done a ban on cell phones. They've said no cell phones during instruction time at minimum, and maybe no cell phones period in schools. And we'll talk about the difference here in a second. You've also got about 8 states that are doing kind of recommendations. Recommendation's great, but it's not kind of cutting it, and it's definitely not a ban. In terms of why do we need like a state or a national ban? I think this is interesting because I've had parents ask me this. I've talked to my neighbors and stuff about this. They're like, well, why doesn't the district just create a policy on it? I can't tell you from an administrator and teacher perspective how much better it is to be able to tell a parent, hey, I'm really sorry. I understand you hate this ban. I understand your kid now has in-school suspension for bringing a cell phone a couple different days. It's not my fault. I didn't create this. Governor such and such created this law.
Why would parents hate it? Because it gives them more time to focus in class.
We'll go into that. We'll definitely go into that. And that's important because there's definitely some parents that maybe aren't big on the bans. But in terms of the administrators and teachers being able to kind of say, hey, listen, this is the rule. They don't go and call the superintendent. They don't go and call the principal's boss. They've got to go all the way to the state level and talk to the governor if they've got a problem with the law because the governor set the law. So it really takes a lot of pressure off of schools. And that's a really nice thing. So that's a big reason why the state ban or the national ban even, not even sure if a national ban is possible, by the way, but if they could have one, it's kind of what we're talking about today. In terms of class time and then overall, you know, you've got policies out there that say we're banning cell phones during instruction. Great. You know, that teacher's now not competing with that. But then you're still getting cell phones in hallways. You're still getting them at lunch. You're still getting them in other times that are still not, in my opinion, positive for young people. Mm-hmm. And you're taking away some of the challenges, but not all of them. Cyberbullying, all that kind of mess, a lot of that happened in the hallways between classes. All that stuff kind of came to a head at the lunch table. As far as kids not talking to each other, well, keep cell phones in cafeterias. That's a good way for them not to interact with each other as much. So that's why the big reason I think you see states that have done cell phone bans for all of the school, and I think that's a really big thing. But I'm sure we can debate that. If you got an issue with that, throw it in the comments. If you got reasons why they should be maybe banned in classrooms and not banned in the hallways and cafeteria and that sort of thing, I'd love to hear from you on that.
I have some stats for you.
Oh, you got some
related
stats?
Related to what you said.
Okay, what do you got?
Okay, we've got 77% of schools prohibit cell phone use during class time. 76% ban non-academic cell phone use throughout the school day. And just 30% of schools enforce a stricter rule forbidding students from possessing or using cell phones in all classes or anywhere on campus during the school day.
So the minority is the total ban, I guess.
Well, I wanted to know who those schools were, where you could have them but not use them during class, because I think that's strange. I think you should ban them all together.
And that's what Texas has done. Texas has just like done a blanket ban.
Oh, because I have Northeast ISD and Alamo Heights.
That's probably old data.
Okay.
It was just recently this spring.
Oh,
I think
okay.
in March they did it. And that's what a lot of districts were trying. They were trying to kind of sprinkle in, okay, well, you can't do it instructionally, but you can have them here. And then we just ended up kind of ripping off the Band-Aid, at least in Texas.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So how we made such good progress? I mean, we got 26 states that have some sort of ban. That's a lot. I mean, that's obviously more than half the states. The big reason is when you look at the states, those 26 states, they've got governors who are Democrats. They got governors who are Republican. So it's one of those few topics, not to get too political on everybody, but it's one of those few topics that are supported both by Democrats and Republicans, which is pretty remarkable this day and age, and how much, riff we have over so many different things. Some more survey data for you. People genuinely are happy with this. Basically about 70% of folks surveyed recently said they were happy with cell phone bans, which tells you, 70% is more than about 50% of the states. So hopefully we're kind of continuing that trend. Reasons why they're happy about it: cyberbullying, cheating. They think it'll reduce cheating. They think less screen time for students is good, and then just less distractions. What has our data said? So now that we've had some bans, what does our data say, like our academic data say? And our academic data says scores are going up. You're seeing actually some positives. It's early. I mean, it's specifically in Texas, but you look at other places that have had cell phone bans, for a longer period of time, and scores are going up. They're definitely going up with students who are already struggling. if our underserved population, our free and reduced lunch population, those students who have historically struggled educationally to catch up are actually making like double-digit gains. I mean, they're seeing tremendous, increase in scores to that population, which is awesome. The biggest thing that, the data says is getting time back. I got a stat for you. Ready?
Yay.
So if you ban cell phones in a school, teachers get back an average of 1 hour of instruction per week and 5 total days of instruction a year.
Wow.
That is tremendous. And, going back to, my day job, building content for AP teachers, we love to hear that kind of stuff because ultimately all these great instructional things we're doing, all these instructional resources we're doing, teachers have the time to put those in place and help students pass AP exams, et cetera. Every day, educators work tirelessly to keep high school students motivated. But despite their best efforts, too many students still feel lost in a system that doesn't always support their success. At UWorld, we believe education is about unlocking a future full of possibilities. That's why our team of educators created teaching and learning tools for the advanced placement exams. Powerful, easy-to-use resources that help students master even the most challenging concepts. Content that features dynamic visuals created by world-class artists and interactive elements that spark curiosity and a love for learning. Our mission is to help every student reach their full potential. Whether that means earning valuable college credit by excelling on AP exams or achieving their dream SAT score, UWorld is here every step of the way. Every day, across the country, students are using UWorld to turn their aspirations into reality. Discover how UWorld can help your students succeed. Visit collegereadiness.uworld.com to learn more. So I love that teachers are getting time back. Not only are they not competing with cell phones, but they're getting time back. And more time with students means, more success for students. So I got a couple of stories about cell phone bans. We're going to start with a gentleman teacher that I saw online maybe about 2 months ago. Totally went viral. Wonderful gentleman talking about teaching. He teaches junior high, and he has never experienced teaching without cell phones. And he went on and on and on about how wonderful the first day of school was and how great it was to see his kids taking notes and being engaged and participating and all this wonderful stuff. And it just made my heart so happy to see somebody who had always taught in an environment with cell phones who is now not competing with those cell phones. And, you'd expect teachers to be, happy about it. Well, I got another story about a teenager. And this particular teenager I know really well. He actually sleeps in my house every day. And he's my son who is a senior in high school. And during the summer, he got the email from his school district that said, hey, no cell phones. See you later. Sorry. And Cooper Bates does not ever read any emails from his school, but he happened to read this email and he was fired up. Like when I got home from work, he was so mad. And my son is one of those guys that carries around a "Don't Tread on Me" flag. I guess that makes him super Texan. But he was like, I don't understand this, Dad. I don't understand how they can do this to us. How can they take away our rights? How can they remove our cell phones from our hot little hands? He didn't say hot little hands, but he was very
So
passionate.
dramatic.
And I kind of talked through him with them and, hey, it's going to be okay. And hey, your teachers are going to be really engaging this year and they're going to be excited about it. He was not buying any of it. So first day of school happens and I was unbelievably excited to find out how his first day went. And parent pro tip out there, if you would like to hear your children talking about their school day, don't just ask them about their school day because they're going to give you the worst, shortest answer ever. You say, hey, can I make you something to eat? And while I am cooking for you or eating, can you talk about your school day? That is my trick to get my children to talk about their school day as I feed them and they talk to me while they're eating or while I'm cooking them something. So I made my young man. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it works out well. I think I probably heard that and took it from somebody. But I made my boy an egg sandwich.
I knew it was going to be eggs.
An egg sandwich.
I don't know if Philip can make anything else.
I make good eggs.
Maybe eggs and chicken.
Yeah. I can
and
do
ice
both
cream
those things.
sundaes for Sarah. I think that's it.
That too. So I made him an egg sandwich and he sat down. I said, all right, how was your first day of school? Waiting for just it to come out about how miserable he was. And he was like, it was great, Dad. People were talking to each other. My teacher was great.
Wow.
He has talked about school more this year. He has talked about all his assignments, their discussions. He's taking psychology and he was talking about, what's more important, how you were raised or your genes. And I'm like, who is this kid? This is not a kid who loves school. So I feel super happy that as a senior, he's engaged in class and happy about it. And I would attribute cell phone ban to that. So,
wow.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Once again, if you got comments totally opposite where your child is hating the cell phone ban, feel free to put it in here because I'm sure, Cooper's maybe not the norm. Maybe he is, but it's been very positive from that standpoint.
Philip, tell me, because I've not been in the classroom ever and I'm old. So were students just taking their phones and looking at them the whole time during class?
Yeah.
Was it ever a good thing? Were phones ever used to take notes?
Sure.
Or in a good way? Maybe if you were learning impaired?
So I think there was a time where cell phone use was kind of seen as a tool to enhance a learning environment, whether or not they were doing polls on their phones. Sometimes they'll do questions and you can kind of connect your phone to an app that does a poll question.
That's cool.
Or they were maybe taking notes, or maybe they putting something on their calendar or something like that. That kind of shifted to just a distraction. And I think the biggest thing is students were rushing through things and getting done with things so they could get to that phone.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I think that's what teachers saw a lot of, or they just saw a lot of kids sneaking it. Under their desks, while the teacher wasn't looking. And so it was this, we all know, these things are addictive. You hit that dopamine hit when you look at.
It's called Instagram.
It's called Instagram, exactly. And Snapchat is their Instagram. It's their Instagram for, yeah, exactly. And I think that's what cell phones have become. It become a really addictive thing. But to answer your question, yes, there is an instructional value to them, but I think that it's outweighed by the distraction it causes.
I have another question. Do students now have laptops in their
Yes,
in their
we'll talk
school?
about that.
Okay.
That's a really, really good question. And I'm going to speak to that because that is definitely the case now. In terms of, let's do the pushback side of things because I'm painting this glorious picture of cell phone ban. At this point, man, I got people beating the drums, national cell phone ban, let's go. But there's probably people out there going, hey, I don't agree with this. I think this is a huge problem. And, there's some pushback from lots of different folks. And here are the reasons, and you can kind of judge for yourself, how you want to weigh them. Emergencies. So if there's unfortunately, heaven forbid, school shootings, something really goes down bad, they want their child to have immediate access to that parent.
Right.
I can just tell you from personal experience, if something went down for me, I would want to know if my child's safe.
That makes, because I was thinking about it, and I figured that was the only reason why parents really wanted it. But then I was thinking, why couldn't they do what we did when we were young? Parents just left a message in the office.
Sure.
And somebody ran it to us in class.
Well,
but that makes sense.
And now they've got robocalls. Something goes bad down on the campus, we can hit a button on a school campus and it calls every parent and emails every parent and texts every parent with one foul swoop. Now, not every single district has that system, but quite a few do. So, you've got that situation, but you also have a lot of policies will say, in case of emergency, the student can get their cell phone. Teachers are told with these cell phone bans that if there's an emergency, students need to be able to tell their parents they're okay. And so I think that's what people aren't realizing. There's some caveats to these bans where students can get access to their phones. They can let their parents know they're okay and they're safe. And in severe emergencies, I agree with that.
Well, where would the cell phones be? Locked up in their locker or?
Lockers have kind of gone by now.
What?
School safety. Now, you still have lockers in athletics.
Wow.
But lockers in schools are really not a thing. It's like they used to be because of school safety.
Joe, did you have lockers when you were in school? No. What? God, I feel old. Zach? Middle school. These are fabulous.
I don't miss not knowing how to do my locker combination.
I have nightmares about that.
I think everybody had nightmares about that. Yes, it's
all
go
the
right
time.
twice, go left twice.
Yes, it is so
And then do that secret knock on it and it suddenly opens. Yeah, I that stuff
And then
is
you think, like, is it too right or is it too left?
yeah, that was
And then you
hard.
forget, and then you try, and you're like, oh my God.
Yes.
And you got to go to class. That's the worst.
So
I'm glad they don't do that anymore.
lockers aren't a thing anymore.
Goodbye, lockers.
But they're putting in their backpacks.
Okay.
They're putting them in their, sometimes kids will just leave them in their cars if they're driving to school.
Okay.
But the other thing is they have these special designed bags, and that's the only way to describe them.
Oh,
Like there's
that's
these
right.
bags that
Yonder.
they drop their cell phone in, and they get locked, and they can't get them unlocked until the school day's over.
Beth Brown was talking about that in episode 2.
Yes.
We'll link it below.
Yes, and at Richardson High School, where Beth teaches Avid, they were very instrumental on giving cell phone bans a try, and. That was a cool thing they did. And obviously their kids this year are like, no big deal. We've been through that, been there, done that. So some more pushback, because there's actually some other things that people have pushback on. The forbidden fruit theory. Anybody know what the forbidden fruit theory is? So forbidden fruit theory is the idea that I didn't get on my cell phone all day long. So, oh my gosh, when that school day is over, I'm going to spend 9 hours on this sucker. And I am so deprived from getting that dopamine hit that all I'm going to do is be on my cell phone. And they've actually, I'm getting a scam call right now. And they actually, figured out that that's not really the case. The research tells you that just because it's actually the opposite. The more you're away from your phone, the more you've learned to regulate yourself and not be addicted to that phone. So, you can still argue that if you want the forbidden fruit theory, but they've really kind of dismissed that based on science. So that's a big one. And then they've also got folks that are saying, well, it doesn't fix the root of the mental illness. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I'm doing my goofy voice on that. Yeah, that was don't know why you're saying it fixes the mental health thing. In fact, I agree with you. Taking away cell phones does not fix mental health in all young people, but it's a start, and it should be a collective push to help and support students who have, lots of anxiety and lots of stress in school. So I would say it's one of the pieces that moves to that. It doesn't fix it, and nobody should argue that it fixes it, but it definitely is a good thing. So I think those are some pushbacks that I've heard. If you've got other pushbacks and you want to hear me respond to it, please let me know in the comments. And I'll respond back to you.
He'll talk in the goofy voice too.
Yeah, I will. I will specifically do an accent just for you. Also, going back to your question about computers. There was a time where there were not every single student with a Chromebook. In fact, there was maybe just like your schools that applied for the grant, or maybe your schools out in the suburbs that had tons of money that were buying their kids, laptops. But COVID kind of changed all that. With COVID brought, hey, everybody's going to get a Chromebook. And that's really what people are using, Chromebooks or iPads. Chromebooks, why? Because they're cheap and they work pretty well. And so you really are like, well, I don't really need my phone. I've got my Chromebook. And, you also got the argument of saying, well, we need to ban Chromebooks. You can't ban Chromebooks. Kids need Chromebooks. They need that level of technology. And hey, if they do a little bit more email communication, that's a good thing getting them ready for life. Because I've heard some people say, hey, well, they're just going to email. Great. I love to get an email from my son. I'm like, hey, you're actually having to write in cohesive sentences for the most part and learn how to do email, which I think is good. So those are the pushback things. In terms of how do we keep this train a-moving, we got 26 states committed to this ban. How do we make it 50 states? And how do we move to this dream, national ban? Is I think, first of all, we really need to push talking about this. And we really need to push talking specifically to the parents that have a hard time with it. So if you've got a neighbor.
Okay.
And they are just really against cell phone bans. Because I've got some neighbors, I've got some friends that have been really upset about cell phone bans. And I've tried to explain to them, this is good for you, parent. This is a good thing for you, parent. I don't say, hey, parent, by the way, you're a helicopter parent, and this is why it's good for you. I don't go into that, although I might be thinking that. But it really is good for parents, because parents need to do their day. Go have your day at work. Go have your day doing your thing, and let your child have their day. And those things don't need to cross. You don't need to find out how your child's doing. You don't need to check in with your child. They need to learn to be independent and they need to learn to do their thing. So I think that's why it's a really good thing for parents. And I would encourage you as educators or as other parents who agree with this to have really direct, upfront, honest conversations with those parents who have a hard time with the ban, because I really think it would help that parent. If you're a Snowplow parent, remember Snowplow parents, we talked about them a few episodes ago. Those are parents that like to get all the obstacles out of their child's way, just like a big old snowplow. And I love that term. I don't know who came up with that, but the Snowplow parent was creating a lot of issues at the school because the Snowplow parent would get a text from their child because their child is conditioned to, I'm in crisis, I need to text my parent. Mm-hmm. And that parent would shoot up to the school or immediately call the school.
That's crazy.
It happens all the time. And what the challenge is that parent doesn't have the full story. They don't have the full picture. And you know, they want to support their child. Great. We all want to support our children. But when you're showing up at that school and you only have half the story and you're just fired up and angry and mad and you want everybody up at the school to stop what they're doing and deal with your child's problem, that's an issue. And I think cell phones exacerbated that. Mm-hmm. You know, it allowed them to take advantage of things and do that quite a bit. So I think, you know, banning cell phones also helps reduce that helicopter, you know, snowplow parent thing. And parents are going to be okay.
It also helps the students because they learn how to deal with things themselves.
Correct.
That's what we had to do.
Correct. One of our big pillars of this wonderful podcast is we like productive struggle. You know, we like for students and educators and everybody to believe that, you know, life begins outside of your comfort zone. And when you're experiencing adversity and challenges, you're able to learn how to cope with those things yourself. Not that support's not important, not that we don't need others, but, you know, you're able to kind of work through that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think that cell phones, you know, move us forward in that way. So to keep this momentum going, we want to talk to parents about it. We want to, you know, continue to see all this wonderful data that's coming out, and we want to share that data. We want to share that with lawmakers, with district folks, with school boards, with all these folks, and show that this really should be the wave of the future moving forward, and banning cell phones across the board and keeping them out of cafeterias and hallways too, because we like students to learn to interact with each other, to learn to communicate with each other. That is one of the big things that happens in school. Yes, we learn about math, and yes, we learn about social studies and all these wonderful things, but we also learn how to interact with each other. We learn how to be on a team. We learn how to give compliments. We learn how to give criticisms, all those kind of things, and they happen way, way more when you don't have this tool in your hand and easy access to it. Digital literacy, almost forgot about that. I think the other thing this ushers in is making sure cell phone bans, it shouldn't just be you're banned from using your cell phone and having your cell phone student. It really should be a comprehensive digital literacy push. Why cell phones can be harmful to your mental health. Why they can be a distraction. Why can they be a distraction when you're driving as well? You know, why is AI a great tool? Why is AI dangerous? So I think it goes back into throwing cell phone bans into this whole like push for digital literacy. And it's a big push that everybody should be making. So I think that's kind of the next thing to kind of move things forward. So I missed anything? Any other questions you got?
No, I had some stats that made me really sad.
Okay, let's hear your sad stats.
Okay. A recent study published in BMC Public Health found that 53.9% of U.S. youth aged 13 to 17 had experienced cyberbullying.
Yep.
And then a 2023 survey by the same organization found out that 26.5% of U.S. teens reported cyberbullying within the last month.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking, huh?
Yeah, that just made me really sad.
And obviously, you know, students still have access to their phones in the evening, and they can certainly do a ton of horrible, outlandish cyberbullying at home. But man, you're still cutting out some of the time that they've got to do that. And that's important. I mean, you're never, just like you're never going to solve the cheating issue. You're never going to, you know, completely keep kids off of phones, but you certainly can find ways to deter them or reduce it. One thing, I don't know, you helped me remember something.
What?
Thank you, Megan. Teacher retention. We've got a challenge in this country, education-wise. We have a lot of wonderful, outstanding educators leaving the profession. I hope that things like cell phone bans keep them in the profession. And I hope that, we turn the tide a little bit and we make teaching this amazing, exciting, glorious profession that it is, as far as making people think of it that way. And I hope young people, flock to education, and cell phone bans being one of the things that help that. So, that's my other thought and kind of plea is I really do think this is a step in the right direction as far as teacher retention.
What do you think about not giving teens phones at all? Because I think about that a lot.
As a parent, I'm anti that completely because I'd really, really, really need to know where my child is at certain hours of the day. And there is this wonderful thing called Life 360. And I also need to, be able to know he's safe and sound. And not that I spend my life on Life 360. I'm not a child stalker, but I really do like to know when my child's driving around if he's safe. Oh, Life 360? Oh, sorry. Life 360 is an app. I'm sure there's a bunch of apps. Life 360 does not promote our podcast, by the way. If they'd like to start, I'm sure they could. But there's apps out there that do monitor where your children are. So I'm a big believer in giving teenagers cell phones. I can't remember when I gave my own children cell phones. It was a while back ago. I think that has changed. I think parents, unfortunately, feel a ton of pressure to get their children phones. Man, we could probably do a whole long episode on that one. That's a good one.
Another interesting stat that I found was that across races, white, Black, and Hispanic teens are all about 95% of them have cell phones. Yeah.
It was always interesting to me working in Title I schools. Just because you're a Title I school doesn't mean you've got less access to cell phones. I mean, cell phones.
Sounds like everyone has them.
Everybody's got a cell phone.
That surprised me.
Yeah. And there's plenty of ways to get online. I mean, you go to McDonald's, you go to Starbucks, you go to the library, you go to all these places, and you can find Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. So, even if you've got a cell phone and you don't particularly, have data minutes, you can get access to that stuff. So, all right. Well, this is a very important time, very important moment in this podcast.
And why is that?
Because we're about to move into our Megan's Minute. Or moment. I'm sorry, Megan's moment.
That works too.
You can talk longer than a minute. This is Megan's moment.
Okay. It's time for Megan's moment. Are you going to explain why we do it? Because we want you to subscribe?
Yeah. So what the wonderful Megan has proposed is until we get to 1,000 subscribers, she has agreed to sing a song that I choose and pick and select.
Yes.
And she has no idea what I'm about to select. And I know what kind of music Megan likes. So I'm going to put something in her wheelhouse a little bit. Woo! We're not going to get crazy. We're not going to do something like Drake or something like that Zach suggested earlier.
Because I'm not cool.
It is very cool, but
no, I'm not cool.
Oh, well.
Drake is cool.
I think you're plenty cool. So I do have my song. Are you ready for it?
Okay.
All right. So first of all, and so in a second, Megan's going to belt this out. It's going to be beautiful.
Wait.
And remember, she's going to sing every time until we get to 1,000.
Well, and also because we film things out of order, we originally talked about this in an episode that you'll see in the future.
We did. So you have to go back in time.
And not in some others that we recorded that you'll see in the future.
So, in the magic of podcasts, you'll hear about this thing in different times. All right, you ready for your song?
Okay. All right.
So first of all, the band is Journey.
Okay.
And you're about to sing because we believe there'll be a cell phone national ban, or I'm pushing for it. You're going to sing Don't Stop Believing.
Okay. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street lights, people.
It's like an angel. It's like an angel was singing. So, folks, we got to get to 1,000 subscribers. Please. We've got to get to 1,000. Folks, thank you for tuning in today. I want to thank our wonderful producer, Megan. I want to thank Zach and Joe, who are here helping run the show and making sure it gets to you.
Who never had lockers.
Yes, who've never had lockers. I want to appreciate you guys for tuning in and making those comments and giving us those suggestions. and subscribing also. Remember, hey, life begins outside your comfort zone, so keep on pushing hard and keep on doing great things for kids. If you're an educator out there, we appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. The opinions expressed by our guests and hosts are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views from Classroom to Campus, UWorld, or its affiliates. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please remember to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating that really helps us out. Thank you so much.